in out of the outer world where things are stormy and sometimes, you know, really uncomfortable, to bring you into a place that is, you know, warm and safe and magical. So we're inviting you to come and join us in our tree house. Okay, see behind us that we have this tree. So this is our magical tree house. Ooh. That is going to be our backdrop for the class. And, you know, here we are right in the roots of the tree. So it feels kind of fitting to be snuggled in down here in the roots. So welcome.
And we can start, thank you for that intro, Becca. We can start with our names. Just do a little round of names. And maybe if you want to say a word, and we'll just start there, and then we'll continue on. So
let's do, can we do name and where you're from, and then the word?
Okay. Yeah. So I'm Gabriella, and I am from this great, beautiful earth. And my word today is excitement.
All right, I'll go next. My name is Becca, and I live in Montague, Massachusetts. And let's see, this is a word of gratitude for me, and I'm feeling super grateful for the trees right now. So let's go to Molly next, and then Jenny, and then Winnie. Okay.
I'm Molly. Originally from Massachusetts, but currently in the District of Columbia. And my word is kindness.
So Jenny, you're next. Oh, Jenny's muted.
1 second, Jenny.
Hold 1 second, Jenny, you're muted.
All right.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jenny.
I'm Jenny. I live in Turner Falls, Mass. And my 2 words are tree gestures.
All right, Winnie.
Hello, everyone. My name is Winnie. I'm from Indiana, and my word today is knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you for saying your names. And as it is our hope that over the next 5 sessions together, we will be able to build on what we learn from each other, especially, and our relationship, even if we are in all these various parts of the country. So before I go ahead, I wanted to run you through a little bit of the arc of the class and like these 5 sessions. And we're very excited. I'm very excited to really learn from each other, as I said, and see how we implement the tools and even grow the tools that we are very looking forward to sharing with you. The arc is built on the 5 sessions so that by the 3rd session, you'll find yourself really responding differently to outside stimulation and the world. You'll find very different communication with your body and what we call inner tracking. And these are all tools that get built upon the very first ones that we show you. And then they go in from there, and they're all based on the body. And what are the responses and the tools that grow with this during our time together is really based on creating and finding that space within us that is the foundation of child's play and the child's joy. Mm-hmm. And that sometimes can seem far-fetched because we have gone through most of our lives like being adults and fitting in the structures that are for success or that are going to work, and that child is the adventurer and the one that sees this tree and can't wait to go into the center or to play. So that's really the experience that we hope we can cultivate along with the basket of tools that we hope to share with you.
So one of the things that we do a lot of in our lives is we live and work by cycles, and we have a map that we use that we like to organize our work by. So this is the map of the compass direction. So east, south, west, and north. When we take this map of time, think of like the seasons, we're going to map it right onto our class. And so in the beginning of the class in the East, we're going to be doing basically what we're doing right now, which is welcoming and greeting and, you know, checking in and hearing from each other. And then we're going to move into the South, and that's going to be more like the meat of the class, the different activities and processes that we're going to be doing. And then we'll flow into the West, which is going to be more of a harvest and a learning from the processes. Like, what did we get from that? And then moving into the North, we may be ending in some kind of a meditation or dark quiet before the departure. So that's just a little bit of a flow of how each class will be organized, and then what happens within each section will be different each time. And of course, we're working from what's actually happening here. You know, we have our plan, but then we are, you know, this is about you guys and your lives and how what we are offering works with you. So especially with a class that's as small as this right now, and my guess is it's going to grow, you know, we have this great opportunity to really, you know, really interact. So I'm excited about that. So that was just a little flow of the time.
Thank you, sister. And you'll hear Becca and I refer to each other as sister quite a bit. It's automatic, and it's like just like the vibe that we have with each other. And so we might start calling you guys sister. So don't be surprised. So I want to hear your voices. I want to hear where you guys are right now in this very moment. What's real for you? And the way that we can do that is by this little check-in exercise and called Rose and Thorn. What's like a rose right now in your life? The petals. And what's the thorn? Life is both, right? Like the beautiful rose. And we can start there. It can be as long or as short as you want for either of them, but the feeling is to bring both into this space. So with that, who would like to start?
I think you and I should start.
We should start?
Yeah, we'll model it.
How does that, yeah?
We'll model it. Okay, I'll start. Okay, so, all right. So Rose and Thorn for me. So a rose for me right now, something that's really blooming and beautiful in my life is where I live, and the people that I live around I feel very connected to, and a lot of loving relationship. So that's a beautiful rose for me. And a thorn right now. Something that's a little sharp and difficult for me right now is, I'll say the aftermath of my divorce. I got divorced in August. And so just still trying to figure out how to like be in good relationship with my ex-partner, you know, even when it's like really painful and hard. So that's my thorn.
It's a good one. Does anybody feel inspired to go next?
I can go. I am a recent spiritually awakened. I'm recently spiritually awakened, and just this journey for me of growth and learning more about myself is definitely a rose for me, because it's opening me up to meeting new people, enjoying new things in life that I've always been kind of sheltered to, and seeing a higher me, you know, the gifts and talents that actually have always lived within me, seeing them actually come into play. So that's a rose for me, just the journey within itself. The thorn for me is that I have to balance, because I have this newly formed life that I have versus the past life that it still has attachments, which are my family, friends, people that have always been with me and my physical self throughout all my lifetime. And me juggling and balancing, because I've kind of separated myself in a way, because I'm feeling so good being in this newly formed life of this rose that's blossoming and blooming. And yet I'm kind of forgetting about the people who are they're in the thorn part of me. And I need to learn how to balance to bring them up to the rose with me, because I am so different. So that's where I am.
Oh, thank you. Amy. I really appreciate hearing from you.
And thank you, Brian, for joining us. I see that. I just want to welcome you, and that's my brother. Everybody.
Hey,
Hello, Brian.
Your face, Brian.
Can you hear us?
Oh, there we
one
go.
second. You might be muted. They're muted. Yeah. So what we're doing is just we're going in and doing a little check-in with saying what rose is in our life and what the thorn is. And if you'll hear, you'll see. You'll get the test.
All right, who's up?
Why don't I feel like
Feeling
going.
it?
Yeah, I'm
All
feeling
right,
it.
Gabby's up.
So right now, I'm going to start with my thorn. My thorn is feeling a little directionless, or too many directions, and like not knowing where to aim. And I got this wonderful image that I saw, and it was all these arrows pointing and just flying everywhere, but not hitting the target. And I'm welcome saying hello and just okay. Hello, Thorn. So hello there, and that's my beautiful thorn. My rose is the very there's no other word for it, but it feels like this really electrical excitement that I get when I'm doing something that I'm passionate about, like this, and the life that runs through that, while my body is going through changes of their own. So both.
All right, we're not hearing Molly. Okay, there we are, Molly. Great.
My rose, well, I've recently been promoted to a position after having a lot of professional sort of failure to thrive in a number of different careers. This is one that I have a lot of skills that allow me to do it well, and I'm being recognized for it. I'm financially in a better place because of it, and I get a lot more respect as well, both from my coworkers, the average person who I meet in my day at my job, and from my family, who have traditionally not really respected what I do. However, the thorn is that even though I do it well, I'm not passionate about it, and I don't know what I'm passionate about. Like you say, Gabby, so many arrows, and I want to follow them all, and I don't have the time. And I know I don't know what I want to continue doing with my career, but I know I don't want it to be this. But I have no better option right now.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you, Molly. How about you, Jenny?
Let's see. For me, my rose is my inner work and the morning prayers that I do every day out in the woods, and the feeling of connection and opening and belonging that I experience there on so many levels. It's really amazing. And my thorn is my amazing ability to scare the crap out of myself with my thoughts of people who feel threatening to me, and the constant kind of vigilance that brings up for me of worry and yeah, just great worry. And sometimes I can find ways through where my inner work will come to my rescue, and I can find my way through the incredible fear that comes up, and other times I'm just stuck and I can't sort it out. So that's me.
Thank you, Jenny. Oh, it's so good to feel you guys. I really am feeling
Yeah,
you with your chat.
Me too.
I really appreciate it. It's like, okay, I want Brian. Brian, where are you? Can you come on a video, man?
Sorry.
Both you and Max.
Oh, you and Max. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Well, I'm just listening right now because this is my first time. So.
Well, it's all of our first times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't worry. We're all virgins. Brian, do you have a rose and a thorn that you can share about your life right now?
I'm guessing like the rose being like a positive thing, the thorn being negative, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do you know like in one concept, like anything can be a thorn?
Yeah, it's whatever is real for you, man.
I guess, you know, well, yeah, you know, like, I guess getting into like a lot of student debt but like, you know, I guess, you know, that because, I don't know, because it's just something that like I wish I would have thought more clearly and like more thoroughly, like before, you know, I got into like, you know, before I went to school. Like I didn't know, I just wanted to go to school because I know I was told to go to school.
Yes.
I wish I would have done, you know, like a little bit more of, you know, like research and like make sure that I was really committed to school. But then, you know, I guess that like leads into my rose, you know, like it showed me like I went to school and it showed me, you know, things that I didn't like and like it showed me new things that I wanted to try. So, you know, like, and I guess, you know, the rose would be like, you know, I don't know, like a big rose. I just, you know, my experience, like the people that I've met, to be honest. I guess that's a big rose because, like, you know, everything that I've been through has just led me to this point, and I've met many people. So I guess that's a big rose for me.
Good.
Welcome. Welcome.
Thanks, Brian. Good to have you.
Hey, Max, you share now.
All right, Max.
Takes it as it is. So,
what are you feeling, sister? Where do you want to flow after that? That was a beautiful check-in.
That's a beautiful check-in, yes. And so one of the things that I want to say about our time together is that we're going to really be following what the energy is and actually where we are. It's not, we have a plan, right? And at the same time, what can be created in the moment with what is here. And I really feel like going into the aspects of ours that can be here and call you to be here that are our vulnerable parts, the parts that are doubting. And one of the things that we have, Becca and I have been cultivating and practicing, which is, it almost seems like duh, and then it's so revolutionary at the same time, at least for me it was, is a practice of going in and finding our inner child, and our child that actually plays, right? The adventurer, the one that, whether it's 4-year-old or your 5-year-old, that sees the possibilities inside a tree trunk, and it's like, it's explore time, let's get dirty and messy. And we have, in order to survive in our adult structures, we have created them to survive and to fit in, whether it's through education or whether it's through a career that we really don't want. I mean, that just happened to me. I just ended up not getting a position that my heart was set on. I'm like, oh, this is right. This is the career. I've kind of come full circle. And getting the email that says, no, thank you, we've gone with somebody else, was was a cold water shower, and at the same time it was like, okay, that affirms something that I'm not yet sure what it is. And being pretty scared, really, at the end, and feeling a lot of rage at all of it. So when that comes in, what do we do? How can we go about our day, or how can we even go about thinking about the whole big picture, right? So I want to invite our little bit of go into welcoming. Yeah,
Sister, will you pull up on your phone, Rumi's The Guest House? I meant
yes,
to print
no
it,
problem.
and I didn't print it, and I really want to read that. Okay, so we want to introduce, I'm going to call it a game, okay? This is the first game of life that I have found truly to be, Gabby called it revolutionary. I think that's the right word. It's the most simple and revolutionary practice. And it is a simple practice of welcoming whatever we feel, whatever it is. So when Gabby was just speaking about the rage that she was feeling about not getting the job and the upset, the practice that we have is when that comes in, we access that part of us, ourselves, the observer self, that can say, oh, okay, yes, hello, welcome to the one who is so mad. Okay, welcome to the one who is so upset. And just that simple act of welcoming what we're feeling, it has a really profound impact. And I don't want to go into a description of it because it's very personal and you'll feel it in your bodies as you do it. So let's just do a little exercise right now, I think. I want to invite you each to bring into your memory the thorn that you described. Okay, and perhaps there's even another thorn that is even more challenging for you. Like there's a thorn that just really stirs the pot for you in some way.
It could be a person.
Yes.
just bring him in. Right? Into your, and so we're going to actually, sorry Becca to interrupt, we're going to actually be using a lot of our imagination.
Yes.
The power of the imaginal cells and the field is something that can be nurtured, and really what we get to practice, and we want to practice, like it's like having playmates in the imaginal field where we can actually talk about uncomfortable and sticky things. So yeah, bring the person that you're not liking or the situation. We want to hear about it and we want to feel it with you.
So right now, we're not going to hear about it right this second. We're just going to feel it. So just bring in that sticky situation, whatever it is. And just, if you can, I'm going to lean forward too. So, because I always talk quietly when I do this. So if you can't hear me, go like this, and I'll try to raise my voice. So what I want to invite you to do is to just say hi. Start by saying hi to it, whatever it is, person, situation, condition, just hello. And just notice what it's like to just say hi to it. And then if you can go the next step and welcome it, kind of like somebody that came to the door and you weren't expecting, and you're like, oh, hi, oh, come on in. And just notice how that feels. Okay, and then I want to just hear how that was for you guys. I want to hear what saying hello and welcoming felt like to you. All right, so whoever feels called, just pop in.
I had that physical feeling of heat running down your arms. It being not a very comfortable thing, and it's a visceral reaction.
So when you welcomed the sensation that you were your thorn, you felt heat running down your arms.
Yeah. Like a primal response to something challenging and uncomfortable.
Yeah. And so if you just even say hello right now to that primal response, Like, oh, hello, primal response. There you are. Hello, heat running down my arms. There you are. See what that's like. It's like a game. We're just playing a game. A little experiment. Thanks, Molly. Anybody else want to share?
I feel a sense of anxiety a little bit with my thorn, because my thorn is me, and a past me that I am no longer. But I have to be me because that's the strong me. But I don't want that me. But that me has led me to where I am today.
Yes. Yes.
And when I think of the fact that I have to meet me again, makes me uncomfortable.
Okay.
So I have to learn that is me, that is me. And that everything that's attached to me has to stay with me because it is of me. It is me. But therefore, I don't want it because it's always been of worry and trouble. And taking me out of that space and putting me into a better place, I don't want to turn. I don't want to look back at that person. But that's being selfish because she is I and is she. So if I learn how to love her, because that's what I'm about, is love. That's where God has led me for Connect Star. I have to love myself. So I'm struggling with that portion of me. That's it.
Thank you, Winnie. Beautiful. Thank you. And I want to say a sweet hello to that form of you, Winnie. Form of you that got you right where you are right now, and it couldn't happen any other way than it did. And here she is. And guess what? You know what happens is that those old selves, they transmute.
Mm-hmm.
Like shedding a skin, snake skins. We do leave part of ourselves behind, but it's the part that's not, it doesn't need it anymore. It's okay.
Right.
It's skin. So there will be old skin you leave behind, and there will be that beautiful you that is just you regardless.
Mm-hmm.
That just keeps on going.
So are you saying that it's okay for me to let go of that part of me? Or am I supposed to bring that part of me with me?
Well, we're actually
No rules.
No rules, and actually, Winnie, the home play that we're going to be doing later is actually going to speak very much to what you're asking, because it's multi-layered. It's both and. You'll hear us say that a lot. It's not
Right.
one or the other.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you, Winnie.
And Winnie, I think that you will answer your own question as this class goes along. And you can hold it just in your heart as a sacred question. And
Right.
maybe the feeling of it is something like, how do I bring all aspects of me together?
Right.
Okay, so it's not disowning the parts
Thank you.
we don't creating. Mwah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bless you for your vulnerability. This is what Gabby called in. So great.
I wasn't expecting to be crying, ladies. But you know I'm a crybaby, so.
Jenny, how was that activity for you?
Let's see. You know, when I was thinking of that, I was thinking of the me that gets scared to death when that thorn comes up of worrisome situations, usually around interactions with people, threatening people. And, you know, I just pictured the one of me, usually a really young me, that's there feeling partly scared, partly angry, all, you know, a whole range of emotions like that. And that part just wants to be like enveloped and held and having it all taken away, having the emergency taken away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to thank everybody for bringing in this very beautiful, precious meadow of vulnerability, where all of those soft parts of us are, and they're there. So welcome, and thank you for sharing. Brian, would you like to add in? You are currently muted.
Yeah.
Share your experience.
Oh. What was like the specific thing that you were asking?
How did it feel when did you do the welcoming exercise where you welcomed your thorn?
Mm-hmm.
What did it feel like when you did that? Did you notice anything that happened when you said hello and welcomed it?
I mean, besides like, you know, I mean, I guess just like recollection that I'm aware of it, because like I pretty much like I walk, you know, every day knowing that like I walk around like every day, you know, and I acknowledge my wrongs and like I'm in my head a lot, so like there's not one day that I goes through it that, you know, that I feel something. I'm like, oh shit, you know, this is something that I should have been looking at for a long time. Like, you know, I know it's something, you know, that's been there. So, you know, I guess the fact that like, you know, like that I still can like acknowledge, you know, like my thorn is still, you know, it's relieving because, you know, then I wouldn't know, you know, what, you know, if I'm human or not.
Yeah.
You know.
So the acknowledgement, thank you. Yeah, I hear the acknowledgement, and thank you for that, Brian, and everybody that shared. And what I really want to talk, I'm really feeling speaking about is the shape-shifting that we all go through in our everyday lives. And I use the word shape-shifting, and if you can bring into your mind what a cloud looks like during the day, it's constantly changing. It's constantly, maybe it's bloated with rain, maybe it's a thin little cloud, sometimes it's just a sliver, and welcoming all the parts that are the shape-shifting of us. Sometimes we have to show up this way, whether we're feeling the stress of meeting people, or I mean, I get very nervous before I meet people, and I would absolutely prefer to like hermit and not meet anybody, and that's okay, and so if I have to go out, what do? I put on the shift, I shapeshift into who I am going to appear as that day, right? If I'm going to go see my mother, I will be a daughter that day. If I am going to go be with a client, or then I will be in business that day. So I want to acknowledge all the parts where we are going through our everyday life, shifting the core of who we are to fit into whatever we're doing, or whomever we're meeting. And that really brings a lot of feelings, like as Brian mentioned, awareness, right? Acknowledgement of our thorns. Or Molly, that hot tingling feeling. My hands start to sweat, like a cold sweat. when I think about like something anxious,
Mhm.
or if there's a group of people I have to go meet, my hands go. So it's like, who? So that internal shape-shifting can be a little bit of a wild ride, especially when we're welcoming things. So when we're in that vulnerable spot, what is, for me at least, and Becca can share, where do I go to? Because it's like, I don't know who to shapeshift into strong Gabby, old Gabby, daughter, hero, and I'm nervous inside. So how can we come into one center where we can be all of those things, where we can be the daughter, the sister, the teacher, or whatever role we're playing, that is all encompassed within one shell, which is us. And I'm sure that everybody has at least heard some version of what rooting or grounding is. But here's where I would really like to introduce it in that mayhem of all of the changes and shapeshifting that we have to do during the day. If we somehow have to welcome that anxiousness, and we just don't know how to. So if you wanted to,
Yeah, that's great.
how many? I mean, have you guys heard of it? What is
Well,
the?
let me introduce it.
Yeah. I haven't introduced it. I'm like, have you heard of it? Yes, go ahead, Morgan.
Thank you, Gabby. Yeah, shape-shifting. Yeah, absolutely. That's certainly a big part of life. So in the midst of our world, in the midst of the life is it's so wavy, right? We just keep having these like things that pop in, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, now I'm feeling this way or that way. And we have a practice that is practiced by, I'm going to say probably every spiritual tradition, I think, has some aspect of this. At least I hope they do. And it's what we call rooting or grounding. And I'm really liking the word rooting right now just because it holds the image. And I love my tree behind me here. It holds the image of what we're trying to do. Because what happens in the swirl and the choppy waves of life and the choppy waves of our minds when we're worried and all the things are happening is that our energy lifts up. I mean, you can kind of feel it, like when you get anxious and it's like, that high. And so when we work with grounding, it's using the beautiful power of our imagination. Okay, so we're going to use our imagination here to imagine sending roots from the bottom of our self. I like to do it from my feet and from my tailbone, but I've sent roots from like dripping from every arm at certain times because that's just how much you need. So
I usually have ropes around my feet.
Yeah, Gabby, we got to hold her down with boulders. But yeah, so rooting is a really important practice, especially when we start to get anxious, if we can remember to just send our energy down. So what I'm going to do is a little meditation with you guys right now, and you're just going to be using your imagination here, okay? And if you have feelings in your body, energy feelings in your body, just notice that too, okay? So use your mind as your imaginal, driver, and feel into your body while we do this. If you can, I'm going to just kind of like get myself into a seated upright position just so I have some good posture for this. But get yourself into a posture that feels, aligned in some way. Okay, great. So you'll see me use my hands a lot. It just helps me. So, okay, so I want to invite you just to come together into the present moment for a second. Just take a few breaths. Just breath in and then out. Don't try to follow any form with your breathing. Just notice what it is. But just bring your awareness to the in-breath and to the out-breath, however your body wants to breathe right now, just for a minute. And then on the next out breath, what I want to invite you to do is imagine seeing roots extending down out of your feet, out of your tailbone, out of any part of your body that feels like it wants to be rooted. And see the root in your mind's eye as it curls its way down, and then it extends out, and then it opens up, 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 and then it opens into the ground below. It's almost like the roots can get magnetically pulled towards the center of the earth. We just let them get pulled down, and use your imagination and just see how they travel. How do your roots travel when they get pulled to the center of the earth? What color are they? Sometimes I have a giant taproot. Other times I have lots of little filament roots that just go everywhere. Just notice what your roots are. And with each breath in and then out, I want to invite you to just send them down even further. So breathe in and then breathe out. Sending your roots down even deeper. It's almost like sending your energy down into those roots that you created. Down. Every breath in, there's something that lifts up a little bit. And then again, breathing down. Just letting your energy and your attention, your mind's eye, your focus, your breath, just send you down, feeling heavy. And then if you can, just imagine roots are beautiful things because we can release our energy down into the roots, and we can also draw up nourishment from the roots. So right now I want to invite you to imagine that you have sunk your roots into our beautiful Mother Earth, and she has some valuable nourishment that you need that's just for you. And I want you to imagine just sucking that right up your roots. With your inhale of the breath, pull it in. So just pull the nourishment up your roots. You can see it as light, as color. You can feel it as warm honey. Maybe it smells beautiful. Just bring that nourishment up into your body. Bring it all the way up into your heart. And just stay in this moment, rooted to the earth. Every breath up brings nourishment. Every breath out brings grounding. When you feel complete, you can just open your eyes and come back. So just do a quick body scan now after the rooting. Just notice how you feel. Notice, I'm just curious. I'd love to hear what that was like for you. What did your roots look like? And how does it feel in your body now? Again, this is just an experiment. This is a game to play. There's no right answers. It's not like, oh, I rooted, so I'm supposed to feel enlightened or anything like that. It's just what is real for you right now.
It's perhaps because I live in an apartment building, but I found that it was challenging for me to imagine my roots going down because quite literally below me there are at least 2 or 3 other people. And I want to impede upon their couch too. So I found that mine sort of spread out a little wider as opposed to going down deeper, but they had a lot of surface area. And the energy that I was pulling in from them was this beautiful iridescent color, kind of like a jellyfish.
Nice.
And yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks, Molly. How's it feel in your body now, Molly?
The iridescent jelly.
Calmer, pleasantly warm, not primally warm.
Oh, there we go. Pleasantly warm, not primally warm.
Very important.
That's big. That's a transmutation. That's changing energy from one form to another. That's beautiful. Nice. Anybody else? Oh, you got
Oh, anybody?
You gotta unmute. Hold on, Gabby's
Sorry.
got you muted. Okay, Winnie, you are speaking.
Oh, I was going to go last.
You can also pass, so don't worry about it. Does anybody feel called to go, and you do not have to?
Well, no, I can tell you actually what mine was. My roots were a pinkish brown. Within the trunk part itself, there was a door that kept opening and closing, waiting for me to come inside.
Oh,
I could smell the aroma of flowers, nature, that I was like, I want to go inside. So I walked inside, finally. As I walked inside, they started rooting into the ground and growing. That was the energy that was coming from me coming into it, because it was waiting for me. And as I got inside, they planted into the ground strongly and began to grow even more with me inside of it. The roots changed color after that point. They were pinkish brown. Now they are a full brown with me inside of the tree. That was mine.
Wow, what a journey.
What an awesome journey.
That's beautiful. How does it feel now in your body, Winnie? What's it feel like?
Energy, refreshing, like a wind of refreshing when you're out, and like if you're driving and the wind is blowing and that's a refreshment of air coming through to me, that's how I'm feeling it coming around me, as like a wind
Beautiful.
blowing.
Welcome to the beautiful breezes. Wonderful nature. Oh,
Yes.
all right. Anybody else want to share? You want to unmute Ryan so we can, if he does want to share. I can't tell if he does or not. Do you want to share?
I think I'll pass on this one. Sorry, I'm like running around.
No.
I'm not, or am I?
Okay, all right. We're gonna just keep you muted, Ryan. You just listen. Jenny.
Yeah, I ended up drifting off into this path.
Totally. Perfect. All. We welcome the sleeping one.
And sometimes that is exactly what the grounding or the rooting is it is really an essential form of getting all of those energies for just a brief second of rest and rejuvenation. And I have to share that when I got that email from the job position, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just gonna go do my errands, and I had to ground to do this exercise about 10 times within a 20-minute drive, because I could feel the anxious and it was okay. And at the same time, I didn't want to bite anybody's heads off at the supermarket. So like, how can I be with the discomfort is really also a tool of this grounding. It doesn't mean that it's going to go away or that it's not going to come back, but rather it just being in the vulnerability and then giving it some support through grounding will shift the issue for you as you actually come into multiple cycles of that feeling. So it can be really strong at first, and then you'll feel it like winding in almost like a spiral, till at the end it's like, boom, oh, is this what the answer is? Or it almost bursts through like a bubble. And it's not delusional. And it's not, it's not delusional. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have others, but it is a practice and a lifestyle choice to do these things actively. And you can practice them anywhere. My first rooting experiences were really at the line, at any line that I had to do. Like whether it was at the car wash or anywhere, it was like, okay, let's do it here.
Right.
If I'm feeling overstimulated.
Mm-hmm.
So I invite you to try that. And
I want to speak to some other ways for rooting. The other times that I root, anytime before a meeting, anytime before I have a session with a client, anytime I'm going to have a hard conversation with anybody about anything. And it's funny because a lot of the times I can feel like the reason for the rooting is because I know something is distressed or wobbly for me. But what I'm also finding now is that I am rooting literally for joy. Like I know that if I stop whatever I'm doing, and it doesn't mean that something's going wrong, but if I stop what I'm doing and I stop and I plant, and lately my roots are these like crazy white, like star roots. They're just super awesome. And I can feel them growing around the whole planet. And so when I just drop in and do that, I feel joy just from the rooting of it. So it's, there's this connection to the earth that is super essential. And the whole issue, Molly, of being, up high, I remember feeling that way so much in the beginning of rooting. Anytime I was not on ground floor, like, how does this work up here? What happens? Where do they go? And what I found that I did was I would imagine just pulling the earth up to me. So it was just like, oh, I'm just pulling her right up to me, and now I'm just going to root right in. That was like one of my imaginal ways of sort of like negotiating the like air roots thing. Although you can send roots through the air too. It's a theme on that one year. So rooting and welcoming everything. These are two games that Gabby and I play all the time, every day, pretty much every day in our life. And it's two of the most foundational ways that we, I'm just going to say, like, learn how to surf the waves of life. Because I think that one of the real fallacies in the spiritual world is that when you raise your frequency and become enlightened and do all of this work, that somehow your life will not have any troubles in it, that there will be no troubles that come through life. And that is not true at all. It's not about that. Like everybody's life always cycles through light and darkness all the time. Like, we are cycle people and we live on a planet of cycles. And so there's no like constant, life is never going to be constant. It's always going to be moving here, there, and everywhere. And along the way, troubles will come, right? No matter what. But what happens when we develop a practice of these things, of playing these games all the time, is that the waves that come, they don't bother us so much or for so long. A big swell will come through, like Gabby with your job, and it'll be like, whoa, big feelings, root, ground, oh my God, just all of the feelings, such a big thing. And then it's like, okay, it moves through. Okay, now where's my feet? Right, my feet are here. Okay, grounded. Okay, yes. Wow, that was a big wave. Welcome to everybody that sure took a hit during that wave, or whatever it is. And then you just come back to center again. So it's not that it's going to like make life magical and perfect for you. It's that it will allow you to ride the waves of your life in a way that you don't get tumbled or sucked into vortexes of like impossibility. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I'm just like did a little time check, but I want to leave for questions or time for questions or what's next time. Anybody please feel free to ask, and we are okay if we go a few minutes over. So
yeah, if you guys are all right, we'll go over 5 minutes just so that we can close out in a grounded way. So any final reflections or questions from this first class?
I would say I really appreciate the ideas of things that help me open up to looking at things a certain way just within this little bit of time. Just really learning more. I really like the idea of shape-shifting because I think that that's how you can get farther to who you really want to be if you can put yourself in specific position, in a specific place at a specific time. So I totally understand when you say you have to be a daughter, you have to, you know, when it's time, you have to be a leader when it's time, you have to be a mom when it's time, a wife, a parent, any of that. I really like that. I like the idea of shape-shifting. I'm gonna work on that. So that was a good one for me. Thank you.
Anybody else have a sharing or question? And if not, we can flow into. Well, let me just see. Anybody else? I want to give you guys space. No, you're all set. Molly, you're good. Jenny's good. Okay.
Well, thank you for joining us. And as fun and as serious we're trying to make this, we have a little activity for you guys to do before our next meeting, and we're not going to call it homework, it's home play, because really we want you to play with it. You can do it as many times as you like. Everybody got a link to their folder, and that's on Google Drive. And you'll see under week 1 there is an activity called the multiple versions of you. And you can print it out or even draw it out, and it just looks like a simple, it's like a little spider web, a spider. In the center you put your name, and in the surrounding satellite legs, you are indicated to put identifiers of you. And you can do it every single day, and I think you're gonna see that it actually changes every single day. And that's actually to know where you're shape-shifting during the day. So if you do it on a Monday, maybe you're playing the role of sister all day, right? Or what have you. So we encourage you to do that, and maybe next time we can all share and see where our energy is going, and how grounded, if you do it every day, like Wednesday, I actually found that I felt much more joyful or grounded when I was playing these shape-shifting roles versus, wow, look at the change on this side. Or you can do it once. And you can put them up on the student folders, or you can do it privately and then we can talk about them. But I'm really excited to see what you guys have and share. I'll do it as well. There's also one student folder that says student input. And if you want to share pieces of your writing, art, things that you find cool, please upload it into that folder. And we always want to take from where you guys are in your experience.
The other thing in the folder, we're going to just be putting resources in there. So as we gather resources around rooting, around all of the different practices that we have, there's meditations I want to share with you. We'll just pop them into that folder, and each week we'll have a different resource, page as well.
Specifically, yes.
So.
You also have a YouTube link to a private meditation playlist that we have both tried. And so,
nice. Did you put that in there?
Yep,
Great.
it's in your syllabus, and I could send it privately, and it has about, 20 or so meditations under 22 minutes or less. So feel free to check that out. And I think that's it on the tips.
All right, so I want to close by activating your happiest child self. Okay, so I want to invite you to remember an age of you when you were young. I'm thinking in the 5 to 10-year-old range, where you just were your happiest self. And what I want to invite you to do is to imagine what environment, what place, what world would that child you most like to play in right now in this moment. Maybe they want to go to the beach. Maybe they want to go to climb a jungle gym. Maybe they want to eat a huge ice cream sundae. Whatever that child wants, whatever environment or situation, just call it in right now.
Good. I like doing that.
What does your child want?
We went to the jungle, and we're swinging by vines.
There we go. It's my sister. Always.
We gotta swing on some vines.
So blessings to your child, blessings to the joyful world that your child can play in through this wonderful world of our imagination. be building a world for your children to play in going forward. Each week we'll be adding new features to it. So, you know, just get your imagination rolling, and like, the sky's the limit. Where does your child want to play? And it can change every second. So just, we'll close with that and invite you to use the games that we've offered and really play with them during the week and notice how they go.
And feel free to reach out to either of us for a check-in, or, hey, I completely forgot how to do this again. You can reach us via email, and thank you.
Thank you so much. And let's do a checkout. I'd love to just have a one-word checkout. So just, we're going to go around the circle and just close with one word of how you're feeling right now. And Jenny, can we start with you? Is that not good?
I probably can't do it in one word.
How you're feeling? Okay, great.
I'm just thinking about the storm and getting ready for the storm. Sorry.
Totally. So prepping. Got it. I think we're going to skip over Brian because I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
How about you, Molly?
Invigorated.
Wow.
Winnie?
Full.
Full.
Mm-hmm. How about you, sister?
Joyous.
I feel satisfied. All right, well, until we see you again, fellow travelers, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. You know, if you can think of somebody else that you want to have come join our little play group here, send them along, and we'll see who else wants to come. And until then, have a great time.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye.